Why not? Hey, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Hope you're having a decent Tuesday evening. And here we go with another one of these. I'm going to turn on my chat here. And I'm going to refresh it. There we go. Cool. All right, everybody. So tonight, we're going to be working on some cool stuff, actually. We got a bunch of Batman stuff in. And we're going to... I don't think we're going to finish anything tonight, but we're going to prep stuff. Okay, so very nice that they came already built. So that's a huge leap forward in terms of our ability to get these done. There's 7 models total, but they're all like large composite models. So none of the chump stuff. We're going in for the real deal. So we got Killer Moth. We got I don't remember what the specific name of this Batman, but there's a Batman, and you got Kite Man. Pretty awesome. And then you got Gentleman Ghost, which I painted before on stream, but we'll get to see him again. And the dopeness here, Clock King. So cool. And then we got 2 big guys, but we're not going to work on the big guys tonight, okay? But I'm going to show them to you just because they're awesome. So you guys have something to look forward to. Hey, what's up, Chris? Later in the week, we'll work on Deathstroke here. And it looks like we went with maskless Wade. Is that his name, Wade? I forget his name. And I'm trying to get this sword straight. I played around with it a little bit. I don't know if I can actually get it much straighter than it is right now. But I played around with it a little bit earlier with a heat gun, or some people like to call it a hair dryer. But yeah, so we'll see. I may give it another run, see if I can get it any straighter than that. I'm not 100% sure if I could. And then Bane the Bat. Bane the Bat. Really awesome. Look at this sculpt. It's great. Fantastic sculpt. This right here, this is gonna be the most fun to paint of this set. Everybody else is cool, but they're all very bright. One thing I want to do immediately before I do anything on these guys, at least, is I want to fill these gaps. These gaps they're kind of bugging me. Hold on. All right. Anyways, so we're gonna fill these gaps here. I'm gonna put some plastic putty in these. Sorry, I'm having a different conversation, totally different conversation in the background. I promise it'll be over soon. Okay. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right. Okay. So do that. We'll give this a minute here. Gentleman Ghost. will, again, you don't have to do this, but it just kind of drives me crazy to be able to see through the bottom of the model. I don't even think, Chris, I don't even think you care that much, but it kind of bothers me. So I do that to make sure that doesn't bother me so much. Oh, and I did a terrible job at it. Hold on. I'm talking important things in this other conversation. But we will get to the painting and the building and the whatnots. So I'm gonna let this dry here. All right. I actually forgot to gap fill. No worries, dude. All good. All right. Okay. So, did a little for Bane, but not for the others. So, normally what I do on these is I let this dry a little bit before I cut it off, but I'm going to do this number here where I'm going to get a sizable portion of it off, knowing that the rest of it will shrink down, just so I can mount it here and start priming. Gentleman Ghost will have, oh, it'd help if I picked one with, hey, what's up, Shadowcat? Welcome to the feed. Let's see. Let me, okay. And then, how y'all doing? Hey, what's up, Larry? We're talking about tacos. I'm half distracted. We're talking about tacos. Do you like who doesn't like tacos? That's what I want to know. And who are these people? And like as a as a polite society, what do we do with such individuals? All right, let's uh let's get going. I mean, I get that you could be in the mood to not have tacos, but like, have you ever met a human being that was like, "No, I will not have tacos ever again. I don't like tacos." Ha- has that happened? I really want to know. I can imagine it could. I can imagine. Oh my gosh, I can imagine uh, that it would happen maybe in the Midwest because that's the only place that I've ever been where I've had a taco that I did not enjoy. So let's say I lived in the Midwest my whole life and I've never had a taco outside of like the local taco joint. And then let's say I had a bad experience because I actually did have a true story. I did actually have a bad experience with a burrito in St. Louis, which is crazy. I had a, yeah, I was in, well, I mean, come on. If you're in St. Louis, though, first of all, if you're in St. Louis, you want to order something with pulled pork in it, uh, or basically pulled pork or any sort of beef product. Barbecue is decent. St. Louis, it's good for that. But I was like, oh, I miss home. I'm gonna have a burrito. So I was like in some mall. This was years ago. I'll tell you, this was so long ago that I actually used to travel with 40K. I used to bring my 40K army. I'm not kidding. On my, I used to bring it on the airplane and bring this big plastic 40K box with me and play 40K in different states. I played 40K in like probably 6 or 7 different states. And I played a game in St. Louis, and I was in a mall that had a GW in it. And I was like, oh, I'll have a burrito for lunch. And that was just not a good idea at all. Okay, like no, don't get me wrong. Chicago used to not really have a Mexican food game, but in the last, I would say, 8 years or so, you know, had a really good influx of folks to that area to the point where there's actually, a respectable selection of Mexican food places in Chicago. And bear in mind, this is coming from somebody that lives in Southern California, right? And you're really not going to get better Mexican food outside of where we live. So for me to pay a compliment to, a Mexican food place in the Midwest, that's got to count for something, right? Man, I do love this mold line on the top hat. Okay, thank you for calling that out. Let's. We had that problem with the previous one I painted. Let's see if we can get that before we throw primer on it. But yeah, we've been talking about lots of different kinds of food lately. The other day I was having a conversation about Persian food. I love Persian food. And I did a study once in my single days. I took 100 people to Persian food. I'm not kidding. I took 100 people to Persian food. And I kept track of everybody that told me that they liked Persian food or didn't like Persian food. And so these were all people, this was the first time they've ever had Persian food. And, this was a time period of, we'll say, I believe it was between 2002 to around 2007. I was taking people to Persian food. And only one person out of and I literally counted 100 people that I took to Persian food. And only one person did not like the Persian food. Okay, there's other people talking to me about look, you guys can hop in the Discord if you want. If you really want to chat. I mean, what are we... Should we have a rule that I don't... Oh my gosh, no. Hold on. Oh gosh, okay. All right, I need to stop. Okay, let's get at this mold line. So I don't know those of you who have dealt with the Batman 3rd edition resin, but let me show you something. That's the 3rd edition Batman resin. It's more like PVC than the 2nd edition resin, which is basically like soap and sandpaper. it will snap at a stiff breeze or a dirty look. And so let's see. And so you can't really get at these mold lines the way you think you can because the resin is so rubbery. Right? This just doesn't really work. You normally have to slice it. Like you actually have to go in and carve these out. Like there's a mold line right there. See it? And frankly, I don't know if I couldn't even get, I had the same mold line on the last one I did. I don't know what you can. This model is actually a little bit stiffer than the last one I did. That's actually better. This is maybe a slightly better cast because it had the one that Nelson had me do had mold lines all over it, and I couldn't get all of them. This one allows me a little bit of a shave. Obviously, you can't really sand this, but maybe we can do that. And because Gentleman Ghost here is primarily airbrush, you can't, like, you got to be pretty honest about the mold lines. Okay. Back to priming, I think. Okay. So we're talking about different kinds of food. Persian food, right? Only had one person tell me that they did not like Persian food. A lot of people tell me they think Persian food is going to be spicy. I don't know where that comes from. Persian food is not. There really isn't any Persian food that's spicy. But some people tend to think that Persian food's actually quite mild. Most of the flavors are quite mild in Persian food. Very yummy though. I'm going to give that plastic putty as much time to dry as I can. Oh, hey Larry, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but I think you and your son should join us on September 12th for the Guild Ball tournament because we're trying to get 12. If we get 12 people to play, it becomes a team tournament, and we've agreed to split up, kind of the most veteran players, so that there isn't any like power teams. But I think it could be a lot of fun, especially if you have a team should be made up of players with a lot of experience and then players with less experience. So we try to shake it out so that the teams match up fairly evenly, and it'll be up to the team captains, to kind of figure out what are going to be the best and most fun matchups. So yeah, hope you could make it on the 12th because it would be nice to have that team tournament that we've always wanted to be able to host, and especially team tournament I think is probably the best tournament format for new or casual players because they don't feel like everything rests on them, and they're teamed up with experienced people that know the matchups and can really help them, right? There's just certain foods that certain types of cuisine I think that are fairly universal in their appeal. I would say Mexican food is just so amazingly popular. And for the longest time, like I said, I did not think that you could screw up Mexican food. And now I know better. Thanks, St. Louis. And these just oddball characters are hilarious. I think this dude is like 30 rep or something. So you could fit him in a lot of lists. Okay. Gentleman Ghost, you're going last. Because actually he's going last. He's got a lot more stuff to dry. Oh, I forgot to check. We were just at CQ. I forgot to check if they had any more Vallejo Black Primer. Whoa. Hold on, hold on. My little valve flew off. Where did it go? That happens sometimes because your finger is kind of right there on the screw cap, and it is probably on the floor somewhere. Where did that? I didn't even hear it land, so it could be in my lap. Is it still my lap? If I stand up, shake around. No, it flew off somewhere. Where'd it go? Tell you what, we're gonna take the quick connect off for now until I find where the cap went. Well, that's a little bit of an annoyance, but it's okay. I wasn't really planning on switching to the harder Steenbeck anyway, but I do need to find that. That is going to be very frustrating to deal with later when I do want my quick connect. Boo! That's not good. Okay. Well, let's swap over and just we'll take the quick disconnect parts off. I'm sure I have that valve somewhere anywhere. Like I didn't even hear it. I felt it come loose, like I felt it come out of my hand and then pew, but where'd it go? Anyway. We'll fire this back up. Now it's got to refill the tank. So that's a downside to running a compressor with the tank. Okay, that gives me just enough time to get up out of my seat and see if I can find the valve. Doot, 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 doot. That would have just rolled right there, I would think. I just can't believe, like, it's a sizable metal piece. It should have heard it hit when it hit the ground. Maybe it never hit the ground. Maybe it landed here somewhere. I don't know. Right? I guess not. All right. I guess it's not the end of the world. I'll look for that later. Let's finish priming these guys. Yeah, I'm running low on black primer. But that's a good thing because the black primer can actually go bad pretty quick. Vallejo black primer can do that, meaning when I say go bad, meaning it'll thicken up. So it'll be harder to spray straight out of the bottle. So I actually prefer to buy it in smaller containers, knowing that. All right. And finally, we're going to do Mr. Clock King. Look at all the goo on his clock. Now, Clock King and a lot of these models are actually fairly bright in their tone. So I'm going to give them a pretty light prime coat. I know I just prefer to start black just because, you know, there may be spots that I can never get to. So as a default, you know, I tend to start black on them. Like right down in there, not much I can do to get in there. Okay, cool. Give that a minute to dry. Where did that thing? I bet it. I think I know where it. If it fell out of my lap, it would have kicked forward because the air would have pushed it. The air would have pushed it forward. Right, so it should have actually shot over here somewhere because the air would have kicked it there. But the air, you know, if it depends on where I was holding it. So I'm looking for there's a little screw valve right here. And the way this sits normally is it sits right where my hand is. Like my hand sits right there. And it'll sit right on that screw. And it will continue to kind of, you know, every time I grab the airbrush, it will thumb that screw around a little bit. And then eventually, you know, if it's loose enough, it'll fire off. Giving the gray some time to dry. Let me see if I can find another fitting in the meantime that has that. In my graveyard of airbrush stuff. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves while I you can hear all the stuff that's in here. Yeah. Yep. Nothing. It's just a quick connect. How hard can it be, guys? Just a quick connect. No, I'm not going to pay for one separately. They come free in the airbrush kits. But I had plenty of airbrush kits, so why do I not see it? I don't see any. Okay, this is gonna be that's gonna be a much. Oh wow! On the plus side, I found some clippers. Well, that's nice. Found clippers and no quick connect. Okay, fine. Bet that cap will show up. Okay. Anyways, let's switch to the next color. So actually, I'm just going to go, instead of going gray, I'm just going to graduate straight up to white and just kind of control the level of white, and that's going to be good enough, right? Because a lot of these, so we're just going to go straight up to white. And then we'll get going on these. Gentleman Ghost is going to be very easy to airbrush. So we'll start. So these aren't going to be like a true zenithal because I actually want a lot of the model to be pretty bright, because I'm going to drop that like blue-green coat on him, right? I mean, I'll leave a little bit of shadow in there. Hey, what's up, Sean? I'll leave a little bit of shadow in there, but for the most part, you should be able to see most of the gentleman ghost here. Okay. All right. A little more on the hat. Okay. Likewise, Clock King is going to have a lot. He's a very brightly colored dude. So he'll have big portions of his outfit will be very, very light. Naitumaruru. Hey, what's up, Nelson? Feels like deja vu. So what are some polarizing foods? I find Indian food to be polarizing. You either love it or hate it, right? Thai food can be polarizing because if you're allergic to peanuts, you lose like half of Thai food. Italian food is one of those where you just sort of like it. I don't know anybody that just goes absolutely nuts over Italian food. It's just sort of a, hey, do you want to have Italian food tonight? Me? Sure. Why not? That's kind of how Italian food goes. Italian food kind of sits in that spot. All right. A little work there on Clock King. He's just, look at his pose. It's even great. Yeah, we got Kite Man, also very bright in color. So this is usually the stuff, this is, oh, getting some spitting. This is usually the steps that I don't do on camera. And you can see why. It's because it can be very noisy with airbrush. You can't always see what I'm actually doing. But I don't know. I figured tonight, why not just chill, shoot the breeze. I think Caribbean food, I think most people are just sort of, yeah, sure, I like Caribbean food. I don't know that there's people that are like, you know, the biggest Caribbean food fanatics in the world. I don't think you get much of that. Oh, Suicide Squad characters. I was actually, you know, when I saw that trailer, Nelson, I kind of had I had a different reaction. I am more worried that they're gonna just like do the Expendables, where, you know, they're not gonna actually have a like much of a movie. I think that because the cast is so big that, you know, the film itself won't have a lot of focus. You won't, you know, you might be excited to see your characters together, but they're not going to actually do much. There's not going to be You see what I'm saying? Like, I kind of saw that as a negative, the sheer amount of people that they threw at Suicide Squad. 50% of that team, yeah, that's true. I mean, that's kind of good. Maybe that is kind of a cool thing too, though, is they're going to start off with a big old team like that and kill half of them. I mean, you can kind of tell, or I think we think who are the more important characters in the Suicide Squad. Well, I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that movie's entertaining. Sauerkraut. I had sauerkraut last night, Larry. I had there was my wife made some bratwurst, so gotta have sauerkraut on your bratwurst. Uh-oh, getting problems. I think I gotta. I think I'm having a little bit of a clog here. Yeah. Well, that's not fun. Hold on. Trying to clear it the back flush way, which doesn't always work. Sometimes it's enough to get you through, right? Sometimes you can get through with a decent back flush. But I'm not having the best luck here. Here we go. You can see all the spitting that happened. There we go. That's working a little bit better now. All right. Gotta do Firefly, King Shark, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang. Well, Harley Quinn definitely has to live because she's kind of the franchise, I think, for Suicide Squad. I don't know that King Shark is really cool, but who knows? They might kill him. He's a CGI character. There we go. I actually got this to... Got that jam to clear. Alright. And then Batman. Really? I don't do... He definitely doesn't get that bright level treatment that everybody else is getting here. Oh, no, that could have been bad. I was like about to fire the wrong product into the airbrush there. There we go. Polka dot makes it, I'll clap at the end of the movie. All right. So I guess we're not getting Bronze Tiger. Kind of makes me sad. You know I love my Bronze Tiger. Ooh, got a little tiny little spit. Don't like. Okay. So I still, even with Batman being mostly black, in color, I do shoot a big clear shot up top to give the model some focus. Okay. Now most of these are pretty bright. All right, so let's start with Gentleman Ghost here. Okay. And now let's clear out the airbrush. Can't wait for Taika. I'm not even going to read the name. His voice is going to be so funny. I don't even know the actor that you're referring to, because I'm out of it. Out of the loop there. Oh, super bad. Okay. So Gentleman Ghost is going to be fairly easy to do. We just have to pick the right entry colors for him. And so I like to go foul green to start. That actually might be a little too green. So I could go foul green, or I could go something like that to give him a little bit of a blue base. Like this is Morning After blue. Actually, I think foul green will work. Let's try foul green. Whoa, what am I doing? Got like the wrong stuff going through my airbrush right now. I'm like beating up my airbrush. Okay, which is actually pretty normal for me. I really do abuse my airbrush. So if you want to know about what you can and can't get away with airbrush, I'm probably a pretty good resource for that, because I've probably tried every sort of corner cut and, speed method on airbrush that you could think of. Okay. So we got, this is foul green. It's going to leave kind of a minty color here. So we're going to start with a foul green base, and then I am going to add some blue to it as we go up. Okay, because basically this is Gentleman Ghost he's just a zenithal prime, really. He's just a zenithal prime of blues and greens. So this is the color that you really would rather concentrate in the shadows. All right. Woo. I know this is riveting stuff, guys. But hey, we're learning how to paint Gentleman Ghost, which frankly it's not all that hard if you have an airbrush. I suppose you could just do this without an airbrush, but it's way more fun to do it with an airbrush. Plus you could get into those areas back in here. All right. Okay. So now we've got to have some blue for Gentleman Ghost here. So we're going to stick with him for a little while. How did Gentleman Ghost come about? We need one of our lore experts to hop in. Was he always a milady? He tipped the fedora at milady. Did he always was he did that? The internet got mad at him, killed him, and then he became Gentleman Ghost. What is the story of Gentleman Ghost? You guys tell me. I would also like to be educated in the origin story of Gentleman Ghost. Okay, so next up, we're going to do this Morning After Blue. Same deal, a little bit of airbrush thinner. Hey, what's up, Cameron? Okay. No takers for Gentleman Ghost. I don't know. I wish I could answer the question for you, but I don't know enough about the lore. All right, so now got a little Morning After Blue here going. Looks pretty good. And there, now we're starting to do this as a Zenithal Prime. I may have overthinned this a little. No, it's actually pretty good. It's actually pretty good. Pretty good consistency there. So you can see the color starting to lighten up on Mr. Gentleman Ghost there. And he's going from, like, he was a lot more green. Now he's going towards like a pale blue. Looking pretty good. Okay, pretty good. One more color to go. And then he's like, he is really, really close to being done. It's really just going to become a matter of painting his base. But hey, you couldn't have done it if I hadn't shown you how to do it. All right. Last color that goes on Gentleman Ghost is Verdigris. Now this is a very difficult color to thin for airbrush because it's a very thick paint. But here's a little interesting little fact. This Verdigris, the original, this is one of the older bottles of Verdigris. This is super thick paint, extremely thick paint. So you really shouldn't thin this paint. So if you have one of the newer bottles of Verdigris, this is the opposite. This is a super thin paint. So this is great for airbrush actually, provided you've stirred it up well enough. But you can hear it's like super thin. Gentleman Ghost is the spirit of a 19th century gentleman named Jim Craddock. Returned to commit further crimes, Craddock was lynched by the gunslinger Nighthawk and doomed to wander until his killer is dead. Is that Nighthawk? Is that the same Nighthawk who is the part of the Batman Incorporated? Curious. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit of airbrush flow improver just to make sure that we don't clog my gun here. All right. I'm gonna shoot this. I don't know. I almost feel like you may need a little more white in this color. This may be too close to what I've got there. Yeah, because it looks exactly like the previous color. It's actually not bad. Maybe a little. Let's make this a little bit lighter. Yeah, let's make this a little bit lighter. There we go. Actually, now that I've lightened it up, it looks more like verdigris than the other color did. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, it's nice. Okay. It's pretty good. All right, now it just needs not the same Nighthawk. The Nighthawk who lynched him was actually a reincarnation of Khufu. His descendants include Hawkman and Hawkwoman. All right. Speaking of which, you Comic Quest guys should probably know that Hawkman and Hawkwoman, I don't believe are on your question of the week. I could be wrong. Okay, so now we're just going to do a tiny little spot. Right? Just tiny little things. Right? Little spots of light. Ah? Hawkman is. Oh, so Hawkman's on the question. Cool. Well, you gotta have Hawk Girl. Who I've been meaning to buy because I want to stick her on. She's kind of expensive, but I do want to stick her on a couple of my Batman squads. Cool. Look at that. We're done with Gentleman Ghost. We're actually not done. We do a little bit of shading, but not much. But you could kind of see already, like, yeah, there you go. There's Gentleman Ghost. right? Now you basically just you give them a little bit of shading and you paint the base, and your gentleman ghost is ready. Okay, let's move over to, while we're on the greens, let me have a look at what Kite Man looks like, and I need to look at Kite Man and Clock King. So Kite Man. Oh, Kite Man is 2 words. What? How come Kite Man's not in the builder? Really? Let's do Clock King. Clock King. Yes, Kieran. Clock King is in there, and he's very bright. He's very bright. I don't know that there's a great base coat for him. So, actually, I guess if we're gonna base coat him, I think I just shoot him green for now, just to get the green down. So let's get the, and I'm pretty sure Kite Man. Well, hold on. Okay. How come I cannot find Kite Man? Kite Man. Do I have to capitalize it? Kite Man. No results. Liars. Kite Man. That's definitely a lie. Whoops. Kite Man. Kite Man. Okay, got it. So he is actually, he has 2 words. Kite Man. He is not showing up. We get a chance to. Kite Man is great on there. I do not find Kite Man in the builder, and it's ridiculous because I know he's there. I've seen him show up when I'm building crews. Am I just spelling Kite Man wrong? What if I just put kite in? Look, it's hyphenated. That's why. That's why Kite Man. Okay. Okay. So actually, I could start with the same green base for Kite Man and Clock King. So let's do that. And let me clear out my airbrush. Airbrush is taking a beating tonight. But basically, they're both going to start off with this warp green. And then tomorrow we'll actually get through a lot of the painting. Probably finish a couple of these tomorrow, or maybe, maybe I even finish 3 of these tomorrow. All right, so we're gonna spray, let's spray Warp Lightning, because one of the, now it's a little expensive to do this, but it's actually quite nice to spray contrast paints. You actually get a fair amount of mileage out of them. You're just filling the bottom chamber, and you actually get a lot of color doing this. So, because this is the same thing as like spraying an ink. I love that Clock King is rocking shorts. I'm gonna have to agree with him. If I'm wearing an all like tight suit like that, I'm still gonna want to rock the shorts. But this is a nice little base coat to start. Right, so when I start doing the color blocking, I have a nice green base there to work off of. Now the blue that's part of like the spandex part of his outfit can get pretty intense. And what is with the goo on his clock? And besides, like, what? Besides being, you know, the living embodiment of Flavor Flav, what does Clock King do? I think it's time melting or slowing down. Okay, I kind of like him then. That is one of the superpowers I would want. You know, when you have kids, you have kids will always ask you what your favorite, you know, if you could have any superpower, what superpower would you have? Mine is typically I want to be able to stop time. You know, a lot of people say flying or super strength or super speed. You know, I would be cool just being able to stop time. Time travel would be fantastic too. Well, I would start with wanting to be able to just stop time, right? If you could stop time and then and like tap people out and go, okay, you know, I've called timeout on the entire world, but I can hang out with you while the whole world is in timeout. That would be pretty amazing ability. Any information on the others? Yeah, you guys tell me about these characters. I'm just painting them. I don't really know much about them. Okay, so that's the greens that we're going to use on Clock King and Kite Man. Now it's time for Killer Moth, who, this is a tricky one because he's got so many colors. And probably his most dominant color is going to be the orange. So we're going to spray him an orange color. He may be my favorite sculpt in these 40 mil group that I'm painting. Killer Moth is pretty awesome. All right. So we're going to spray him in orange. Let's spray. So we're going to spray this Griffhound orange. Oh, way too much in there. It's weird how his foot is just sort of resting against this tactical rock as opposed to him standing on it. I do like his gold pistols. Are those pistols, or are they some other sort of sci-fi weapon? So this guy's got a trippy color palette. He's got orange, green, and purple. It's a very unusual set of colors to have as like your main colors. All right, make sure. Not really missing. Not really missing anything. Okay, cool. All right. So that was a lot of airbrush prep there. But, you know, it'll pay off. It makes this a lot faster. And, yeah, you don't have to worry about the principal color, you know, not covering well enough on these models. Okay, cool. Just clearing out my airbrush before I put it away. Man, I really got to find that stupid thumb screw. All right. The character has been generally regarded as a joke in comparison with other supervillains due to his lack of superpowers, dim-witted personality, and the idea of him thinking himself a villain. Kite Man is awesome. Alrighty. Let's see. I'll give this a minute. And what do you know? My other conversations have all calmed down. That's good. Okay. I'm going to let those dry for a second, and I'm going to continue to look for that stupid thing. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or threats, now is the time. I gotta be careful with offering to take up threats. One day, someone is gonna issue a real threat to me. Like, hey, I'm gonna be your best friend now, or something like that. That would be a mistake for them. Joke's on you, buddy. Let's see. Wow. Where did it go? I mean, did it eject? Did it eject like super far away? I don't think so. Man. Nada. Nada, nada. All right, so it's not in the area where it would have projected. Did it maybe bounce off of my lap and end up in a really weird spot? Sometimes you just find stuff in really weird. No, nothing down there. Maybe it ended up, the most current Clock King can see 4 seconds or so into the future and is a technological genius. Okay, I would settle for that. 4 seconds into the future it's pretty cool, at least for things like getting into a fight. 4 seconds is a long time in a fight. Wow, I am really shocked. That thing is just not here. I am really shocked. All right. Well, that's not good. Did it end up here? No. We do need to throw this rag out, that's for sure. This rag totally got destroyed that round. That's just gonna drive me nuts, man. Where'd it go? It's just a tiny little thumb screw. It's really not. Okay. Anywho, let's jump back into this. Oh, hey, Cameron, by the way, since we got you here, we are really trying to get 12 people to show up on September 12th so that we could turn the Saturday Guild Ball tournament into a team tournament. And and that would actually be a great event for casual or novice Guild Ball players, because we are going to divvy up all the veteran dudes and have them all on different teams. So you'll be teamed up with veteran players and we'll match up the games accordingly, according to experience and whatnot. So anywho, let's paint some of this dude. That thing really did it just trying to think about it. It would have fired off there. I mean, if it hit, let's say it hit all the way to the back here, it would have fallen that way. And yet, no sign. That is just wild. Like, it had to land somewhere. Okay, that's gonna drive me nuts. Anyway, actually, let's throw this other rag out. Let's just start with a brand new rag. Got plenty of these. Okay, So now that we know who Clock King is and Kite Man, we haven't done any research on Killer Moth. Killer Moth is the sweet, nice. Yeah, maybe I don't know what Chris is up to too. Maybe we can get him too. That would be awesome. Shoot, dare I say we get to 16 players or 15 players, and then we have 5 teams? Actually, that wouldn't. We'd rather have 6 teams. 6 teams, so it's either 12 or 18 would be the best types of attendance. All right, let's give this dude a cool wash down. So, so we're going to give him some Arcalian green here, but we're going to thin it so that, oh, I keep forgetting I need to go to CQ to get more contrast medium. That's why I keep going back to that store. You just forget everything that I run low on. But, you know, plus it's like hanging out. All right. To go for a Batman tournament. Right? Right? I don't understand, Sean. I don't understand. Okay. You have to go to the car for a Batman tournament. Maybe I'm just reading that wrong. Probably am. All right. So, again, I want this to be very, very subtle. All right. I think I may have slightly overdone it with this color. So I'm just gonna stick to the shaded components here. All right. I'm not really trying to do too much shadow so much as I just want to, I want to have good definition on the sculpt because it's a fantastic sculpt, right? So I was not talking about setting up a Batman tournament. I was talking about getting enough people on the 12th to show up, particularly casuals and newer players, because that would allow us to play a team tournament where we kind of, build teams made up of casuals, new players, and kind of, maybe captained by the more veteran players in our Guild Ball meta. That would be a very fun experience, I think, for everybody because you're not just playing in a like serious competitive tournament. The goal is to, get in a bunch of reps and match players with your approximate skill level, right? And it's a format that we've always wanted to run in our meta, but we've never quite had the, what's the word I'm looking for? The pieces weren't in play. It was never the right time, I guess. And now that, now that official support is ending, we're like, well, this may be the last opportunity we get to finally try that team tournament format. So that can be very, very good. I should also, also as a heads up, Sean, I just finished editing our last Guild Ball game. I need to do voiceover for it, but it will be up on the channel very soon. I was never very good at Guild Ball, so that event sounds, yeah, it's perfect because, like I said, there's going to be, the expectation is that we have a lot of just a lot of the more casual people show up, and then really the the title cup is the Sunday event, so it's nice. So even the like most competitive people understand that, and they'll be looking to really make it a more casual day overall. And with any luck, I would also like to play in this event because I have never. That was the whole reason why I wanted to go to Chicago this year was so that I could finally play in a team tournament. I will warn though, if you are the novice on a team, or if you were the casual on a team that I'm put on, and I'm expected to be the veteran player of the team, I'm sorry. I'll just apologize in advance. It depends. Well, I'll put it to you this way. Okay, I I'm I don't know if I would play alchemists or um, if I would play alchemists or engineers on whatever team I'm playing on. Um, I would probably play. It kind of depends on what other guilds are on my team, and I would flex either way. Um, Most of the time, the more sound choice would be engineers because I feel like they have the deeper roster and they can play. They've got good play into a lot of guilds that alchemists can struggle against. But with my experience, I'm like way more experienced playing alchemists. But so it's going to come down to stuff like that. If someone on my team is playing alchemists, well, then that decision is made. I play engineers. If somebody's playing, uh, you know, somebody plays engineers, obviously alchemists. If the team needs a, uh, if the team really needs like a more aggressive counter to what else we have on the team, then yeah, playing alchemists. If not, if they need if they need someone who can flex into a lot of bashy opponents, then engineers it is. So I am planning on getting in more reps with my NGs in preparation for this, so that I don't embarrass my team. Maybe I win a game. You know, I think I'm going to be expected to play against the likes of Kevin and Nathan and those guys all day. So it could be bad. All right. So you can see I'm just getting the base coats down on Gentleman Ghost's base there. I picked up some paints today. Where did I put them? Here they are. And curious about them. So I have never used Reaper Pure White. I've used Dragon White and hated it. Never used their Pure White. I wonder how their Pure White stacks up against a Vallejo White, which is Vallejo model color white is one of the best whites in the market, bar none. It's just a fantastic paint. Um, Vallejo model color black. I'm gonna say I'm gonna argue that that's the best black miniature paint. This paint right here. This paint right here is worth its weight in gold. If you can get Vallejo model color black, not game color black, model color black. They're very different things. Do not confuse them. Um, then it's fantastic. Vallejo Model Color White. Fantastic color. I don't know how these two stack up. Let's do a little, since we're just kind of messing around tonight, I'm going to show you guys what an egg drop test is. Okay, this is a test that we run. The paint industry is aware of when you're comparing two white colors. Okay, so you take your first white color and you make a little drop of it like that. You actually use a little bit more. I'm just trying not to waste my good white, right? And I actually want this to spread out a little bit. So without thinning, I'm gonna kind of make a bigger pancake out of it. Okay. So that is Vallejo Model Color White. And that's a pretty clean white. Good night, Larry. Thanks for checking in. So now we're gonna check Reaper Pure White. Okay, and the way we check that is we take a drop of it and put it right in the center. Okay, I don't think you guys can see any of this on screen, but what you're looking for is you're looking for color differences between this little circle drop that I made here and everything around it. And what I can tell immediately is that the Reaper Pure White has more gray to it than Vallejo White. And actually, see if I can take a photo of that so I could share with people for those curious minds. Let me see if I get in close enough. Yeah. So Reaper Pure White is not as white as Vallejo White. Is it a big deal? Probably not. It's not that big a deal when we're talking miniature paints and miniature scale. In other paints, it can be a big deal because, and I'll just mix them together like that. The reason why it can be a big deal in like your house paint and stuff like that is because that's the base by which they tint a lot of the colors, right? When you go to the paint store and you want let's say you want a yellow color, right? And the yellow, in order to get yellow, they take yellow colorant and they tint it off of that white base. Well, if that white base has gray to it, it's going to become a much dirtier yellow versus a clean yellow. What I mean by that is, so here is like if you could imagine, that's like actually that's still fairly clean yellow. See if I can find you a better example of like a dirty yellow versus a clean yellow. Actually, this is actually a pretty good example. Still a fairly clean yellow, but that's a dirtier yellow than this yellow. This is a much brighter yellow. This is a deeper yellow, but it's got a little bit of brown, a little bit of gray in it. Does that make sense? So you would want to know, the difference between in a white. You'd want to know the difference in terms of, how clean that white is. In miniature painting, it's not a very big deal at all because you're dealing with such a small scale. No one will really even notice. So you're all right. Sometimes you can even use a gray white to your advantage because gray tends to cover a little bit better, right? If you have a super pure white, that a lot of times it's not going to cover as well as if you have what is called a toned white. Toned white would be like a white that has a gray or a yellowish tone to it. Gray in particular is what they mean by toned whites because those are the ones that cover extremely well. What is this like romantic staircase that Gentleman Ghost is going down? Because it's it's very. You can see. Oh, that's the Hawkman reference. Ah, that makes sense now. Okay, that's why you're saying he was killed by an ancestor of Hawkman and Hawkwoman. So he's come back to get revenge on Kulu's descendants. So Hawkman and Hawkwoman. Now this little call out to that on the base makes sense. You're gonna head out. Thanks, Cameron, for tuning in, dude. And yeah, let me know. Let me know about the 12th. If you can do it, I'll get you signed up and we'll be good to go. All right. So we're just getting a little white down there. And then let's do just the lightest little edge highlight on Mr. Gentleman Ghost here. All right. I mean, we still want him to look fairly interesting. We want, right? You still need to be able to tell all the every little detail of his sculpt. Okay. So I'm just going to do a very faint, very soft dry brush in spots. Right. Okay. As you can see, you don't really do much to Gentleman Ghost here. He's pretty much, all I'm really trying to do is just exaggerate the differences between the highlights and the shadows. It's kind of like figure painting 101 if you wanted to show someone the difference between highlights and shadows. Great little case study for that. And very fun sculpt. Ooh, got too much white there. So we feather it out. There you go. I'm going to paint a whole, you can finally have my own, fully painted 40K army in less than a week. I'm just going to paint them all this color scheme. There you go. It's my new Space Marines chapter. Gentleman Ghosts. The Gentleman Ghosts. Right? You just airbrush them the way I did. And then you could just dip them and then highlight like this. Right? And then you're good to go. And you get some edge highlighting on the stairs. Right? Okay. Let's paint the little gold candelabra. just going to finish this guy tonight. The other guys we'll work on a little more tomorrow. But obviously this guy is he is the slam dunk out of this set as far as, you know, what you can finish very quickly. Sorry. Whoa. Ah! Ah, hazard. I just spilled a whole bunch of my Nasdrag yellow there. Oh, that's annoying. Let's soak all that up. Now that's going to be one big sticky mess because it's contrast paint. Ugh. Horrible. Horrible catastrophe. It's a disaster. Disaster area. All right. Good thing we got tons of rags. Okay. That's like $5 worth of contrast paint I just spilled. It's not a good night for me. First I lost that, well, there it goes again. Oh my God, GW pots. There, $5.50. I just spilled $5.50. That is the worst. Nah, it's not that bad. I still got plenty of it, but good thing I stockpile, right? It's just annoying because now it's all over this thing. How did I just don't? Did I not have enough room here? Probably not. Okay. Anyway, so here we go. And then let's do Hawkman's helmet. You want to know the funny thing? Is this is one of the paints I bought today. Right? I have a brand new one. So I guess that was meant to be, I suppose, because you got a brand new one right there. So we'll finish the rest of these here. You know, all right. You just want your order and shepherd so you can test them out. All right. I must have known that was happening. I must have known I was going to spill it like that. So now that I did it, it's because I'm clock king, and I was 4 seconds into the future and knew I would spill it. So I bought extra. Anyway, let's get some more of that orange back. Actually, I don't want orange, I want yellow. I want cyan and yellow. For the candles, you're going to do cyan and yellow. And I'm trying to remember what I do for Chris's bases. I forget. I think I know what it is, right? Pretty sure I know. Pretty sure it's hold on. Okay. And now let's do Plague Bearer Flesh. Hey, what's up, Kevin? You figure out what's good. Oh my gosh. Tonight is really just the most klutzy ever. This is the most paint I've ever spilled on any of my feeds. Oh my gosh. Wow. That was really terrible. Hold on. I do have, hold on, I'm going to just break out some cleaner here. One sec, guys. This is just insane. I spilled, I'm like really klutzy tonight. I don't even know why. Okay. That could have been a lot worse. That could have been a lot worse. I spilled a little bit, but that it wasn't as bad as the Nasdrag yellow that I just spilled, but still, I don't want to spill anymore. It's upsetting. You were making me laugh. I know, I never spill paint like that. It's crazy. That's crazy. Something's wrong with the universe. There must be a great disturbance somewhere. I think somebody is somebody out in the world is talking shit about Midas or something like that. It must be. Somebody out there is going, Midas is overpowered and he needs to be removed from all future versions of Guild Ball. It's that Guild Ball committee. They have it out. They have it out for Midas. Must be. Okay. You know what it is? It's these guys right here. There's like a coalition of evil primers that are all sitting here. That's what this is. And they're keeping my table jacked up like that. All right. Now I must have really upset somebody. First order of the action from the committee is to remove Midas. Too hard to balance. Someone is going to give me a set of models I don't want to paint. Someone's going to hand me a like a Skaven army or something. I mean, oh, I don't even want to talk about a scenario under which I would accept a Skaven army commission. Oh, let's let that dry. 100 rat dudes. 100 rat dudes would just be the core infantry. Can't wait to get to. We also took 12 doom bells. Yes, it's just rats and bells. Oh, and then I also bought ultramarines. You like painting ultramarines? Yeah, that's when I would know. That's when I would know. I want them. I want the chapter badge to be a Jack Daniels logo. Please put Jack Daniels logo on every. That's the name of my Space Marine Skaven chapter. They're the drunken Jack Daniels Skaven. I wrote a 4,400-page book on their fluff. It's really good, and I'm very proud of it. This is the chapter that is very grimdark, and in this section, things get even more grimdark. And this is the part where they talk about war, and in this chapter, it's like really violent with war. Keep seeing pictures of all the goods people got on SFG sales, getting sad that I didn't just buy everything. Oh no. Oh no. Don't worry, Kevin. We're gonna get that sweet, sweet aftermarket. Oh, can we just get a 3D artist to come team up with us and make the let's start making the chibi teams for Mob Ball Junior, and we kickstart Mob Ball Junior, and all the Guild Ball players see it on Kickstarter and they're like, "Oh, I know what this is," and they back the shit out of it. Oh, you mean I can have a whole Chibi Hunters team backing? The thing you'd have to do though with this plan is you'd have to do it really. You'd have to do the Kickstarters the same, along the same season format, right? And only, you could unlock season 2 teams by progressing the Kickstarter, right? So I think the original Guild Ball had 6 guilds or 8 guilds originally. And then, and as you start to unlock more, then, hunters get added, then farm, and it follows that progression. So blacksmith players, and they're like, please, we need to make 4.4 million on this Kickstarter so we can play Chibi Blacksmiths Season 1. You'll see, man. Mob Ball Jr. is gonna take the world by storm. You'll see. You'll all see. Honestly, though, come on. Like, think about it. You've already seen Chibi Shark, Chibi Ox, Princess, and Salt. Like, think about all the cool Chibi teams. Chibi Masons, man. Lamplighters or Gilded, the main mechanic where the alchemist crossovers. Yeah, for sure. It would be Mercury, and then it's usually a veteran model, right? Like for example, the farmers is Vet Honor and Bushel, right? For rat catchers, it's Vet Graves and Bonesaw. So it's a vet model. So we have, so alchemists have Vet Cat, Vet Calculus. Those are the contenders. But don't forget, I mean, Vitriol could end up on that team because of her fire mechanic. Actually, I would love Vitriol on that team. I would hope it's Vitriol. I would hope it's Vitriol and Mario.